These are the World Championships of Gymnastics, and today we'll answer the question, which country has the best team?
You know, Al, I spoke with Marta Caroli, USA team coordinator, in the tunnel moments before the team marched in, and I asked her how they were dealing with this most recent setback. Her response, I can't believe all that's happened. We're still a team, though, and although there are kids doing events that would not have, we are prepared. We still think that we can win.
And you know, Chelsea is already proving herself here in day one of the competition. She posted the second highest all-around score. Today, she's competing in every event for the USA. She's the only one doing this.
She was one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant vaulters in the world. Could cost them 0.5 of a point. But what I like most is she comes out aggressive. She doesn't hold back, explodes off that horse. Blind landing, so it's hard to stick. She just has that small hop.
And of course, the start value on this vault is only out of a 9.7.
Vaulting has been by far the lowest scoring event at these World Championships.
Even if Carly Patterson had done this vault to absolute perfection, she would have only been able to receive a 9.7.
And actually, I've seen Carly do this vault much better. She doesn't quite have the rotation she knows she needs. She bends her knees a little bit as she's landing.
9.237.
Just gotta stick the landing. This was a beautiful vault, tremendous power, and zeroes in on that ground, and bang, right there, doesn't move. But she comes out here very strong. Actually, I'm a little surprised with that. I think that was a little bit low.
We switch now from the American story to the Romanian one. Andreea Munteanu on the vault. There's Octavian Bellu. He has been the longtime overseer of the Romanian women's gymnastics effort, and it's been filled with success. They've been the world champions every time since 1991, and they were once again dominant in Sydney, Australia in 2000.
But you know, this is one of the first times that I can remember in a very long time where they are faced with so many new faces, so many young athletes who have very little experience here.
This Andreea is only 14 years of age.
But if you are the national all-around champion for Romania, you got a pretty big credential right off the bat. The only problem with this vault, you see where her chest position is relative to her legs when she's landing, going to incur a little bit of a deduction.
9.3 for Andreea. But a number like that is good news for the United States team, who put up scores just like that.
Yeah, vaulting really is a very low score. I'd be surprised if either the Americans or the Romanians are leading, because the other events score so much higher.
Same vault as Andreea. This one done with a heck of a lot more power, actually over-rotates. But those large steps on the landing are costly as well.
National champion for Romania on vault. As Elfie said, she explodes off the horse. Now look at her chest position. Completely upright when she lands. That's one of the things the judges are looking for, but when you take 2 steps, you get a number like that.
Monica Rosu with a 9.362. Our first look at Spain and their leader, Elena Gomez. In the other competition, the individual all-around, she had the best score coming into the finals, which you'll see tonight on NBC at 7 Eastern Time.
You know, Al, she's great on this event. She's the world champion from last year and made history for Spain by becoming the first woman to ever win a medal at the World Championships.
Elena Gomez of Spain.
There she is with her coach, national team coach, Jesus Carballo. He said that he came to Anaheim just worried about qualifying for the Olympics. The top 12 teams from these championships have an automatic berth to compete in 2004. They made it easily.
Jing Tang of China. Now, Gomez of Spain put up a score of 9.612, and it looks as though Spain is set to make a mark in this first rotation. But you know, China is always powerful.
Not as powerful on this event. They don't have quite the start values as we'll see from the other countries. That one only out of a 9.6.
Well, she really doesn't have the power that one needs to bring in a huge score on vaulting. The Chinese national team, they always seem to pick the same exact body type. They like the small, very lean gymnasts. They excel on balance beam. They're super on the uneven bars, but they can't generate the power on floor and vault.
Alexandra Shevchenko under the watchful eye of the longtime guider of both the men and the women for the Russian gymnastics program, Leonid Arkayev.
You know, I'll have to say that it was a tad bit disappointing when I saw this young lady mount the podium. I never expected the Russians to put an athlete with so little talent on their team.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow, this is a gigantic, huge error for Russia.
We said before, one major mistake and you're just about doomed. And Russia may already be just about doomed. The James Bond music didn't fit.
Yeah, no, you know, it's quite sad. We used to come to World Championships and wonder, gee, you know, what Russian gymnasts are going to be out on the floor. You know, I've watched the practices. They're disjointed. There's no discipline amongst the girls. They're talking back to the coaches. It's gone.
The coaches themselves are saying the Americans are disciplined, the Chinese are disciplined, the Romanians. And this right here, this routine, it spells disaster for the Russians with 3 up, 3 count.
You know, Tim, I'm not surprised because in her preliminary score, she only had an 8.187.
Yeah, it's not even going to get that here. There are so many deductions there, and then she follows it up.
Well, forget that. She almost got severely injured there with that flip.
Yeah, she was so far over-rotated on that first acrobatic element. There's no way that she can recover and make that laid-out flip afterwards.
This is now one of the lowest scores that I can recall in a major international competition, a 7.575.
I can't remember the last time I saw a score like that for a Russian gymnast.
So you take into consideration, we just saw Gomez go on the floor exercise. Spain, in one routine, gained more than 2 points on Russia.
Wang Tiantian.
Oh.
Amazing. In a negative way. At first, Russia, and now China. If you're another country, another team in this event right now, you're saying all bets are off. Anything is possible.
Now all it takes is a fall like this from China or Russia, and who knows, any of these teams that are in the top 8 could find themselves fighting for a medal.
8.737 and perhaps an injury as well. Well, here's the model, actress, and most decorated female gymnast in the arena, Svetlana Horkina. I mean, I don't even know that you can say that there's pressure to keep the Russian team afloat right now. She knows what the game is. This is about, as much as anything, her reputation and her ability to stay viable as a medalist and a champion at her age, having been part of this now for a decade.
Well, I know Svetlana, and I got to tell you, the emotion she's feeling right now is anger. She is, frankly, very upset at what her teammate has done, taking them out of the hunt for a medal. She is a very, very proud Russian.
Has different lines than anyone else here.
She's so theatrical out there, the eye contact. She's amazing. Been in every World Championship since 1994. And you're right, Tim, there's so much pride in what she still does.
And remember the Russian legacy which created that pride, a pride that led the Russian women to be in tears when they were forced to quote-unquote accept silver at the Olympic Games in Sydney. It wasn't a matter of winning silver as it would be for many teams. It was a matter of not winning or losing the gold medal.
She doesn't have the typical gymnastics body. Her longtime coach, Boris Pilkin, who she credits with being her savior, turned a negative into a positive. The long, lean body style, he said that can make you special, Svetlana.
A 9.65, and for the Russians, that's more like it, but last place almost makes you want to look twice. And then look again at 7th place, China. Spain, an unlikely leader, followed by Romania and the United States, a team that has to be thinking about the possibilities. Right now, it's a jumbled world, and still any other team could make a major mistake.
In this competition, there is no one-touch warm-up, so a lot of that would have gotten done in the one-touch warm-up. The Romanians, I can't believe how long they've been doing this. The head judge, I'm surprised they didn't tell him, hey, stop, you got to go.
To the vault. Patricia Moreno of Spain, and another disastrous.
You know, the head coach, Jesus Carballo, this is his 18th World Championships as a head coach. He said one of the things that he feared most with this team was their lack of experience in their young team.
They don't have the experience.
Alexandra Aremia of Romania. Romania in 2nd after the first rotation.
And you know, they could post some fairly decent bar scores. Traditionally, they have not been really strong on this event. Tim and I have both been impressed by how they have upped their difficulty. They look so much better.
To put it into perspective a little bit, at the last World Team Championships, oh, and there's a small error right there, that pause. The Romanian team did not have one athlete make it into the 9s. And
this is unbelievable.
They are not tremendous on the uneven bars. What they needed to do was come out there and rock these sets. 2 big steps on the landing, that pause.
Doesn't this look like it should be the year after the Olympics as opposed to the year before?
I think this is one of the first times that I can remember in a long time having to get to know so many new faces, like you said, Al, the year before the Olympics. Usually that takes place the year after the Olympics. You have 3 years to build your team.
Next up, Floritza Leonida.
Belou, the head coach for Romania, very outspoken. He does not like the rule changes. He doesn't like 3 up, 3 count. He doesn't like no one-touch warm-up prior to the team finals. think safety-wise, it is not right. This young lady, unquestionably on this team, the best bar worker.
Oh, and she's in trouble. Same type of mistake like her teammate.
Incredible.
That one was much more pronounced.
Now, so far, this is not a matter of someone winning the World Team Championship. It's a matter of countries losing the World Team Championship.
Yeah, this is remarkable. That skill that she missed, she was off on the transition from the low bar to the high bar. But the skill that she actually missed, many athletes learn that the first year they're competing. I mean, you got 7-year-olds that are doing this element.
She hit all her big skills, but it's right here, the transition from low bar to high bar. She gets in real close and muscles that kip up.
One of the most basic skills in gymnastics. A value, a kip. She's never missed that before, I can guarantee you.
What's in your choice?
So an 8.987 after a 9.025 from Iremia on the uneven bars, and now the Romanian team in major jeopardy. So far, it has been an unmitigated disaster for more than just Russia, but this is the longtime general of the gymnastic troops from Russia on the men's and the women's side. And he is now looking to one of his longtime foot soldiers, Svetlana Horkina, to salvage something out of what has happened to his team. On the right there, perhaps you saw the ad for which Svetlana Horkina is the model for the watch, the sponsor of this World Championships.
Very intricate vault here. She has a hard time getting this around. One of the best ones I have seen her do. You can watch her in training and she'll land on all fours 10 times in a row. Very intricate though. She'll do a half turn onto the board, then half turn again onto the horse. 1.5 twist, and gets her feet down.
And you know what's amazing to me, Tim? That's one of the highest start values in the meet. It's a 9.9.
And every time you see her on the vault, you will remember the day the vault was the wrong height in the Olympic Games in Sydney. Now to China, Fan Ye. And the Chinese team has already put up a very good score here on the uneven bars.
You know, they're capable of huge scores. They are by far the best in the world on this event. Again, here at the World Championships, a very young team.
Incredibly difficult elements done so well. Beautiful full spin on one arm.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh!
Again.
Not fair.
Another huge fall, 0.5 of a point, right off the bat on a skill. Well, for most people, I should say for most people, not a difficult skill, a transition from the low to high bar, but the Chinese athletes, frankly, they are so tiny that going from one bar to the other is one of their greatest challenges.
That's a real shame. She scored 9.612 in the preliminary.
The Chinese team had a 9.087 that they had to keep in the first rotation. Their first score here on the uneven bars was a 9.587. This low score will bring everybody back down to earth, and they're getting set to absorb their second low score of the competition.
I had thought that if China was able to hit 3 clean bar routines and 3 clean beam routines, they might be the ones to beat. But when you can't grab the bar and keep on swinging, it doesn't happen that way.
A 9.025.
Somebody came up to me and said, Tim, you got to check her out. She is incredible. She is a trendsetter. She is so far ahead of the rest of the world on this event. A remarkable story. She was actually brought onto the national team, then sent home because they didn't like her body type. But watch these.
Look at the
full
speed.
Spins.
Right to handstand.
And a huge Jaeger. I can't believe it. Again.
But a smart cover-up.
Another mistake. She had a little bit of a problem with that in warm-ups earlier. She was supposed to go past the handstand.
she's smiling, but it's not up to the standard that you said, at least from what you've seen.
No, well, she's going to get a very good score, but it could have been in the 9-7, possibly close to 9-8 range. Nobody wants it.
You know, all these Chinese bar routines are out of a 10-0 start value.
It all starts with this release skill, little bit of style, slaps her legs, creates some sound, a little bit of drama. Beautiful hack salto transition to the low bar.
But
now
this is where she ran into trouble.
Supposed to cast and go past the handstand there. Doesn't have enough energy to get over. But as Elfie said, a very quick thinking gymnast covers up, but it's still a deduction. That's a shame.
A 9.450 for Lin Li, with the nations of Russia, China, Spain making major mistakes. It is a chance for a team like Ukraine to do well in these world championships. Let's watch the performance of Irina Krasinska. And Tim, this is a team that is going to absorb an 8-6 on the uneven bars. But if you can somehow balance that out, now to me it seems with a 9-6 or maybe a high 9-5, you can overcome that.
Well, yeah, the way things have been going, every top team except for the Americans so far has had a major deduction, a major fall. So like you said, yeah, take an 8-6, maybe grab a 9-6 and another big score, and you're right in there.
So the score for Ukraine was a 9.562. Today, that's a huge score. But one of the highlights of the Sydney Olympics was Alana Slater. And one of the highlights today in these World Championships was the red-haired Alana Slater.
The World Championships was just simply to qualify to the Olympic Games, and they felt a little bit of the pain. Like the Americans, they lost their top all-around gymnast and potential for some much higher scores.
Lisa Skinner out with an injury similar to the Americans.
Slater on that vault got a 9.225. Now we're back to what's at hand for the United States and the story of 15-year-old Chelsea Memel. She certainly made a lot of national news in newspapers across the country because of that last-minute phone call that puts her in the World Championships with her team so much in need because of injury and illness.
In a difficult position starting off the team. This is huge pressure.
Big release right here. Right on her fingertips. Looks so nice when it's far away like that. Gives the coach a bit of a heart attack.
And the great thing about this exercise is Chelsea, unlike all her other events, she has so much variety. Check this out.
Oh!
Remember, she was just supposed to be on the sidelines cheering for this team.
Memel score. Oh boy, it's huge. 9.637.
The one thing Tasha likes better than anything else is a big crowd. She says she loves people watching her. There are a few right now.
A couple of release skills right off the top. Here is her first one. And then the same release skill that we saw from Chelsea right here. This is great.
Little bit close on that first one, caused the second one to be close again. But back on track.
Doing drills after drills to assure herself that she wouldn't miss again, and wasn't this fabulous?
Double layout DLO stick. Right there.
Check out this replay. Check out this. And Tasha hits another home run for the United States. 9.6.
What that means for Team USA, they have got two huge bar scores. All of the other countries we have seen major breaks from, they get through cleanly here. They go to the next rotation with a huge advantage.
And this young lady went 9-5 in day one.
Bella Caroli up and standing. Really, it's his wife Marta who's looking over the program, but you know Bella has a say because he always does. there's some confusion here about. Oh, she has no number on.
Wow.
Now what happens? She can't compete without it.
Yeah, well, you can compete. There's an automatic deduction, but certainly the USA does not want to take that deduction.
There's also a time issue here.
There is a time issue. Once the judge, and they have put the go sign up for Holly Weiss, once they put that up, technically the gymnast has only 30 seconds to mount the bar. If they don't, they can get a warning, and then they can be told to go immediately. If they don't, I think they can actually be given a 0, believe it or not.
Now, wait a minute. Someone has just taken a Sharpie and written her number on a piece of paper from the press row.
Oh, my God.
You know, I don't know if this is legal, to be perfectly honest. I don't think it's...
This is crazy.
Can I ask the question, what is with the safety pins? Can't we use Velcro or something? They're going to let her go.
Amazing. That was way beyond 30 seconds. I tell you, she has got to be a little bit rattled now.
And she's been nervous on this combination in warm-up.
Right here to a release skill.
Oh.
Now, can she continue?
Wow.
Now, guys, I know that there are international coaches who complain about events in the United States. You could argue it's sour grapes. You could argue that it's an advantage when teams come to the United States. For a moment, that felt like a huge advantage, that time advantage that they gave Holly Weiss, but it hasn't helped out the United States at all.
Yeah, it did not help, but actually the head judge has control of that event, and she's an Australian, Kim Gottle.
So now, when all things seemed rosy for Team USA, they, like just about all the other powerhouses, are going to have to absorb and play on with a very low score. The unthinkable. A gymnast arrives at one of the biggest moments of her life without the number she needs to compete. We've reached the halfway mark, yes, and it's time to make sure everybody has their numbers firmly tacked on. Where to begin with the story in Anaheim, California? Falls, major spills, deductions, an American gymnast almost competing without a number, then being given too long to compete with it. Then Holly Weiss given a score of 8.875 after then falling, and that score propels the United States into the lead to China and Li Ya.
China posted
Wait a minute, what's the difference? I mean, if I'm stretching, maybe that's my kind of warming up.
Well, you know,
well, let's see what happens.
Acrobatic elements, actually doing gymnastics. Yeah, it's a fine line.
I think China impressed the entire audience, the world, other gymnasts with these performances on the beam. They posted some huge scores. Very difficult exercises. They take huge risk throwing her head back in a jump like that, losing sight of the beam. Check this out. Combinations like this you're seeing more and more of. Again, taking risk. They have such a great flow in their routine. Beauty.
The rules are so stringent on connections and how specific. Oh, little bit of a check on that. Didn't have enough rotation. How specific things have to be done to get credit, and certainly the Chinese do things like that. So definite. There's really no question that they're going to get all of the bonus that they're looking for on most of the elements. Beautiful, beautiful balance beam.
Nice set, but just little itty-bitty balance checks here and there. Not quite the crisp performance that she had in day one.
Well, how about this? I mean, after some major mistakes, little itty-bitty ones don't seem so bad.
Well, see, Al, this is what I was talking about. Yeah, you can stretch and you can move around.
But this is part of her routine.
Yeah, and she's really doing this. And at this point right here, I'm pretty sure, but I believe they've already got the go sign up.
What's the point here, Tim? Did you see the judges make a motion or put a flag up or do anything?
Once they have the score for the other gymnast, the go sign goes up for her, and that means technically, like with Holly Weiss, technically she has 30 seconds to mount the beam. If she doesn't, she can receive a warning. And then a possible deduction. Very rare, though. It doesn't happen.
Here we go again.
Now, Zhang Nan is pretty much doing the same thing. Now, do you think there's a penalty already included in 9.487?
No, they do not take it off of a specific gymnast. It would come off of the team total, but I don't think, I haven't seen anything that leads me to believe that a deduction has been incurred. I tell you, though, they are certainly annoying the judges. Nellie Kim, the head judge on balance beam, maybe not the most patient person I've ever met.
Well, try and pick now who you think is going to win.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one. Looks a lot better for Team USA, though. I tell you, Al, if they are able to do that after all they have been through, they lost athletes that unquestionably would have been in the top 3 on events.
Watching this balance beam routine, there are a few little question marks in what she's performing, not quite as exact as she did in day 1. Again, the pressure is huge, knowing that this has to count. Chinese taking huge risk in their routines.
Her coaches say she learns moves very, very quickly. Sometimes lacks a little bit of mental toughness, but is considered, at least by head coach Liu, the best all-round gymnast that China has ever produced.
She holds on to stick it, and maybe the Chinese women are steadying the ship.
And you know what was so impressive about this routine is the huge risk that she takes right off the top. Many athletes in this competition are just not doing mounts of this quality.
And a 9.625 on the balance beam for Zhang Nan. Team USA for the women in these World Championships, limbering up to go on the beam here. It's like a flu, and it's not a good one with these women gymnasts. First of all, for Ukraine, a team that looked like they were part of things, Irina Krasinska gets an 8.8 on the balance beam after earlier doing so well on the uneven bars.
And you know what's so sad is this was a team very much like the Chinese, very difficult exercises. They take risks. They have great beauty, presentation. There's a risky mount once again, but of course, when you do that, sometimes it can result in a fall.
Irina Yarotzka gets an 8.562. Now, vindication, perhaps, after the numbers fiasco as Holly Weiss starts off the United States, followed by the 15-year-old fill-in Chelsea Memel and Carly Patterson.
This is a huge routine for Holly. The last time she was up here, she fell.
Selective memory, erase the slate. Think how hard it has to be to really try and do that.
She's got a lot to erase, though, Al, and she's got a huge, difficult combination right here. Flip-flop right into a back with a full. She fell night 1.
That's
hangs on night 2.
Holly's got all the big skills and obviously great flexibility, showing that off throughout this entire routine. Takes some great risk right there. setting up just for the dismount. Last skill. She does a combination. 3 elements and ends with a double back.
That might be the biggest sigh of relief that Holly Weiss has ever made.
Now, Tim, you alluded to it earlier. Marta Karolyi apparently gave quite a speech to this team. One of the things apparently that she said was, this is a world for the tough. In other words, saying if you want to be part of it, you've got to be tough. That was pretty tough right there.
It certainly was. And she also told the story 1979 when Marta Karolyi and Bela Karolyi were the head Romanian coaches. They came to Fort Worth, Texas in the United States, and they won their first ever team title over the Soviet Union, and they did it without their star Nadia Comaneci.
Nine, 5-1-2, and today that's a darn good score. Is it possible that Chelsea Memel can be in her first World Championships at the age of 15 with no advance notice and not crack? Not even a little bit.
And this is not an easy routine. There is tons going on. Powerful elements, tricks, flexibility. First big skill coming up.
Very unique. One of the few gymnasts that attempt this element because it is so risky. It's a front flip with a half turn.
She gets some nice bonus points for that combination right there.
Her mom, a former gymnast, actually a roommate of 1984 Olympian Kathy Johnson. They are staying out here with Kathy, both of her parents, and she is staying on the beam again.
Rock solid. She is all business. Nice little signature move.
That's different.
Very cool.
See that little smirk on her face? She knows there's just one skill left, her dismount.
They are all, like myself, and I think Elfie as well, just really amazed at how well this young lady is doing under this tremendous pressure.
And this felt, oh, so good. Beautiful height. Look at that. Bang.
Someone forgot to tell her she's competing in the World Championships.
And Mary Lou, how about that? And now the weight, because you never know. But it draws a smile. 9.575 for Chelsea Memel. So back-to-back USA scores in the 9.5s. Chelsea introduces Carly Patterson for us.
One of the other athletes on this team, it amazes us the concentration, the ability that she has to just zone out, focus on this 4-inch wide balance beam and do these type of skills.
The thing that's so great about Carly on beam is how she lands. Marta Karolyi says she has a lightness on the beam that the international judges, they just crave.
Had trouble in the first day of the team competition on her dismount. Whoop, little bit of a slip there. Could cost her a 10th or two. So has chosen to take out her more difficult dismount, playing it safe right here. It's not quite the performance we would expect from Carly, but it is going to be good enough for this team. She still had great difficulty.
It's the lowest score of the three, but like you said, it's a good score, 9.312. The Romanian women still to come on the beam. This was Alana Slater of the Australian team moments ago.
And you know, the Australians faltered in the first day of competition and were hitting in this competition when it counts. And Coach Peggy Liddick prepared her team by playing what was called a distraction tape so that this team could get used to the outbursts that we're hearing.
Beautiful. Legs together. Flip catch there.
Oh yeah, a much different team than we saw on the first day.
I tell you, with what has been going on today, who knows? This Australian team that came to these Worlds just wanting to qualify for the Olympic Games, placed in the top 12, they could get a medal. It can happen.
A 9.587 on that routine by Alana Slater. Now Alexandra Aremia of the Romanian team. What must Octavian Bellew be thinking right now?
Well, if he's looking at the scoreboard, he's thinking, my girls better stay on the balance beam or Australia's going to win a silver.
And I don't think that's going to be a problem for this team, because I tell you what, in the practice sessions, they did numbers upon numbers upon numbers, and they hit.
And is there an apparatus that has defined the Romanians more over the years than this one?
No, they are remarkable in the training. It's called podium training before the meet even begins. These young ladies did so much gymnastics in their allotted time. I can't even imagine how many acrobatic flipping elements they did. I don't know, maybe 75 might be a high number, but I think they had one fall in all of those elements.
You asked about a defining event. I would have to say it's balance beam. This is their history. It's what they're known for. They've got big skills. They're clean. They just get the job done. They make it look so easy.
That's just what they do, and they do it every day, day in, day out.
Here are these popular three skill combinations that we're seeing today at this level.
They put their feet down so firmly on the balance beam.
Hey, you know what's missing? All those little voices in the background, the teammates coaching along and living the routine every step of the way. 9.462 for Alexandra Aremia. And now Oana Ban.
She's got one of the most exciting combination tumbling passes being done in the world, and it's not just that it's difficult, it's how she does it. She is tumbling on the beam, punching the beam, really getting some air time, back layout with a full, super hard. She missed it day one.
Wow. That's a great skill. She won the silver medal on this event last year at the World Championships. She's one of the only ones on the team that has just a little bit of experience.
And one of her coaches said a little bit of personality. Mariana Baton says she's very noticeable in a crowd. She always has that smile.
Just her dismount left. She sticks this. This is going to be a great score.
most.
There's a great balance beam routine. There's one of our coaches, Mariana Bitan. And to be honest, I think the Romanians came to Anaheim and they thought that the better team was the USA. But with all of the injuries, I've almost seen a little bit of energy come to this team. And certainly the coaches, they recognize the opportunity. But to be honest, they really have not been delivering today, Al.
Alana Bond delivered there with a 9.537. Now, we have the official computer-generated scores, and China has, in fact, had 0.2 of a point deducted for their warm-ups on what is called the podium. So the United States remains in front, and powerfully in front over China by almost a full point. Romania trying to hang on for a bronze medal with Australia right behind them. In the World Championships, the United States women have never, ever won the all-around gold medal. Right now, they're the leaders with one rotation to come. This is Taryn Humphrey, 17 years of age, and this is the moment. She's on this team to do her thing, her specialty on the floor exercise.
And you know, remember that Taryn was an alternate, not even supposed to be here. This is an exceptional exercise. She can put up a fairly decent score. It is well choreographed, and she has great tumbling.
Remember, in this format of competition, not all the athletes compete on all the events. She has been waiting all night for this opportunity.
You'd have to say that's getting the job done.
What a wonderful presentation.
Remember, this young lady came into this competition as the top alternate to replace any injuries, and then she became
the secondary alternate.
Thank you, Al. Chelsea Memo was put in front of her, and then, of course, the next injury, she gets her shot, and she delivers big time.
Excellent.
9.3 for Taryn Humphrey. Remember, the United States had over an 8/10 lead coming into this final rotation. Now, can Chelsea Memo make it 8 for 8? 4 events in the qualifying without a major mistake, and 3 so far here. That a great save we just saw?
Very crooked on the takeoff, but like everything this young lady has done since day one, she makes it work.
Oh, Ben. Her mom and dad were both great gymnasts. They had collegiate scholarships. Can you imagine how they are freaking out right now? The final American who could possibly nail down the first ever and most improbable World Championship gold medal. 9-4 for Chelsea Memel. Carly Patterson.
Four tumbling passes for a gold medal.
Finale.
Whoa, that's more. Bam!
They don't know that that has clinched anything for sure, but if they do the right thing, that's just going to make the lead of the United States insurmountable. The first Romanian woman, Oana Ban, has already put up a 9.337, meaning catching the United States is a virtual impossibility. The second Romanian woman now, Andreea Munteanu. She may not even know what the plight of her team is, but the United States is on the verge of securing its first ever World Championship team gold medal. That's the way it's been today.
Well, it might have been mathematically possible, but it is not now. Team USA, first time ever, world team champions.
Triano knows what didn't work today, and just continued not to work for her and her team in that floor exercise. And so it is official. The women of the United States, right now, here as we are the best team in the world after losing half their team to injury and illness. It started early, the gymnasts of Russia and China falling away. And now, Australia is going to get a bronze medal as well. The difference a little bit less than the 0.2 of a point that China was penalized.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2003 Women's Team World Gymnastics Champion,